Hello and welcome back to another reaction. In this occasion, Avatar: The Last Airbender Season 3, Episode 7. Yes, last time we got to see a very interesting episode. And I think there are a ton of stuff that we could analyze from last week's episode. It was fascinating to see. It was amazing to understand how this whole war started and the mentality of the Fire Lord that really started all. That he put the world into such a terrible thing. But I want it's interesting to understand why he did that. What was the mentality behind this Fire Lord? Obviously, so far we can extrapolate a lot of things, and I think this is something I forgot to mention in last week's episode. Uh, how the Fire Lord believed himself to be giving the world something else, something that the world needed. But with this Fire Lord, I think is more of an egocentrical way of, yes, I will be the one who stops all the war because I won. And I will be ruling above the rest. It is a different type of mentality, even if they carry the same action or try to carry the same action. It's interesting to see and compare these two Fire Lords. Fire Lord Ozai, which is obviously the egocentrical one, and I don't recall the first Fire Lord who started the war, but him, which is kind of, I want to give the world what I have. Obviously, again, we can point a lot of holes in said logic, but it's interesting to see. It's interesting to trying to understand how two ideas that look similar are actually pretty different once you start to analyze. And this is something I missed last week. So yes, I'm taking this opportunity to just put that out there. Now, there is another thing that I need to speak about, and this has nothing to do with Avatar, but with another series that I am fan of, another Western series that I am fan of. I am speaking about Wakfu. I think my channel gained a lot of subscribers, gained a lot of views once I started to watch Wakfu. There were a lot of people who wanted me to react to this. I did. At the beginning, I wasn't so certain of the animation, of the writing, and all of that, but by the end, I was completely hooked up into this series. Unfortunately, the third season of Wakfu ended very abruptly. It didn't have a proper ending. It didn't have what it deserved, a good closure of the adventure of this Brotherhood of Tofu. If you are a fan, you will understand what I'm saying. If you are not, well, watch the series and you will understand what I'm saying. Anyway, yes, I highly recommend you to see this series, especially now because I receive great news through Twitter. Apparently, there is going to be a Kickstarter campaign for us, the fans, give money so they can create the final fourth season of the series. And this is something I'm really, really excited for. Yes, obviously I'm going to be giving money to said campaign because that is something I really wanted. And hopefully they are going to reach the goal and they are going to give us, the fans, that closure of the fourth season. Because my god, the third season was a spectacle. It's a shame about the non-ending that they gave us. But yes, in June, at the beginning of June, they are going to open this Kickstarter. And yes, in the moment they open this Kickstarter, I'm going to put a link in the description of this video in my Twitter account. And obviously I'm going to be donating to said cause, because that is something that I wanted. We have been waiting. I haven't been waiting that much. I think it's like a couple of years tops that I wait for this fourth season, or at least for any news, any reliable source news about this. But there are people who are spending a decade waiting for this, because yes, this is kind of an old series. And I think, unfortunately, one of the French actors who give the voice to Ruel died, unfortunately. So yes, that is a shame. But hopefully, yes, I'm so excited for this. Hopefully, we're going to get something that will well, give us that closure that we need, because yes, this series deserves better. Wakfu was one hell of a series, and if you haven't watched it, I highly recommend you to do so, especially because we are so close to get a fourth season, and I am so excited for that. Yes, I know this has nothing to do with my regular schedule, at least not with Avatar, but I want to take this opportunity to let you know these. So yes, hopefully we're going to get our fourth season of Wakfu, and hopefully it's going to be worth the wait. If you want to donate, again, I'm going to put a link in the description below once the campaign has just launched, and on my Twitter and in every social media that I have. So if I spam a little bit of that, that is the reason, guys. And in the moment I start to record the June videos and all of that, and the moment they open, I'm gonna be speaking about this over and over again. So sorry in advance for that, but this is something that any Wakfu fan really wants, and this is something that really deserves to happen. But anyway, yes, I think I'm speaking way too much in this presentation, even not much about Avatar with Wakfu. But anyway, yes, so let's just cut the presentation and watch the episode, shall we? Okay, I'm back. I just watched a second time the 7th episode of the series, and before going to the full analysis of this episode, first of all, I owe you guys an apology. Somebody used my camera without telling me, and unfortunately, they didn't erase the footage that they took, and this caused a problem. The memory inside my camera was full, and unfortunately the last few, I think it was 2 minutes or a minute and a half of my reaction were not recorded. I couldn't figure this out until I start to record my analysis, and it told me that memory full, and obviously I could not even start recording, so that's why I figured it out. I was kind of mad because yeah, they used it without telling me and without erasing the footage they took, and it was honestly a pain in the ass. So yes, my apologies for that, guys. The literally last, let's say 2 minutes of my reaction and obviously my commentary were not recorded. So yes, sorry about that, guys. Hopefully it wasn't that much, and yeah, sorry once more about that, guys. But anyway, going to a happier point for the analysis. Well, happier because it doesn't deal with real life problems. In this episode, once more, we got an analysis of character, and I think even a character growth. But not just for one, but for two opposite characters in this case. And I don't mean they are enemies or any of that, but opposite in the way they see life. We have on one side Katara, which is obviously the very maternal, very mature, very, even in a certain point, controlling person, that everything needs to be in a certain way or is not working. Luckily for us, Katara is very correct, is very I don't know, it's morally correct, I think is the best way to describe Katara. She doesn't like when people try to do wrong, when they try to attack, or even when they try to scam, as we saw in this previous episode. The negative side of that is, yes, she could be boring, she could be controlling, she could be overbearing, and that is something that we have seen before from Katara. Not only in the episode in which obviously she is portrayed like this, she is portrayed like this annoying kid that too much regulations around this kid, but even with the most silly side of the stories. Once we saw the fortune teller, the divination of the premonition that she have, and obviously Katara was trying to get more and more information. That is obviously one side of her overbearing nature of Katara. So it's obvious that she is going to enter in conflict with Toph, which obviously her parents were overbearing. Her parents were always on her nose, always on her, always just not letting her be, not letting her be free. So obviously she's trying to get the contrary effect now that she no longer has her parents with her. And obviously she tries to be a rebel, she's trying to do whatever she wants, she's honestly taking way too many risks in a certain point. So it was obvious, and we have seen this conflict before in a less explosive way, let's say, once they start to discuss it, that they need to change their attitude. And yes, in the second viewing, in the previews of this episode, we saw the conflicts between these two. Yes, it's completely understandable when these two characters enter into conflict. But what I like the most is that they do not portray anybody as a villain, as yes, she's bad all the time, or she's right all the time. They portray them as being kind of balanced. Yes, in this episode, I agree a lot with Katara in a lot of points. Once you start to scam people, that is the problem. It's okay the first one because, yeah, this guy was a scammer and he received what he deserved. He was a scam. But once they took it far away, and I think you can see my reaction in this montage, when you start to see that they took it way too far and they start to scam novel people, or at least people which we don't see being scammers. They are just being scammed, especially with the one that is just in which Toph pretend to be hurt by this carriage, and yeah, the police, in this case Sokka, I combined the name of Sokka and Sokka, sorry about that. But when Sokka is pretending to be the police, and yeah, that is pure scam, and obviously that goes against what they were doing at the beginning. At the beginning, I understand perfectly, he was a scammer, he was somebody who deserved what he got, that's fine. But the next ones, and how it was escalating, yes, that is when I said, okay, no, this is taking it way too much, and you are going to get into trouble. And they did. But not exactly in this case the problem, or the last problem, is not exactly Toph's fault, or Sokka's fault, or Aang's, which obviously the last two were just kind of in the background. Again, I love that this show can take the protagonist and put it in the background, that he is just comic relief in this episode. So I love that aspect, that they don't need to show the Avatar as this omnipresent, omnipowerful being that has to solve anything. No, okay, yeah, he's a kid, he's still kind of dumb, and we saw in the scene with the hawk. Okay, yeah, we're kind of stupid. Yes, you were kind of stupid. You can see that from the beginning, the plot holes in your plan. So yes, I like a show that they can do that with their characters. Unfortunately, yes, trying to reach the middle ground, Katara made a huge mistake when they tried to scam the public system of this town. When they tried to pull a scam, and obviously it was a trap. And my guess, the government or the officials in this town didn't care that much about this fugitive, about Toph, but the guy being smart and seeing her, or seeing the poster and any of that, I'm still not sure about how this came to be, say, okay, I don't know where they are, but perhaps this is something, or perhaps just hearing the stories that, okay, these sound like these kids I'm after, or the avatar that I am after. So if I put this and put a lot of money, somebody is going to rat on them, and yeah, it's going to be a disaster. And even, or perhaps even say, okay, maybe even they will try to take advantage, because they are scamming people back then, and they are going to try to take advantage of this reward, and they're going to fall for my trap. I don't know. Perhaps I'm overanalyzing way too much. Perhaps I'm giving way too much credit to this character, and it was just kind of a coincidence. But I want to believe that this guy is pretty smart, and I want to believe that this plan was his plan from the beginning. And I mean Sparky Boom, man. I'm sorry, I like that nickname a lot more than the Combustion, man. Yeah, and hell, those when the first time I hear that fucking name, it's something that anybody from Class 1A of My Hero Academia could say to Bakugo to annoy him. And my god, that would be brilliant and glorious to see that moment. Yeah. Anyway, moving on. Yes, I should not try to intermix the fandoms here. But anyway, yes. Continue with the analysis of the episode. Later on, obviously, we got this amazing fight scene. But this brings something else into the front ground of the series. I don't know, and I don't think this guy could do it without being a firebender. Perhaps I'm wrong. But I believe, obviously, that the tattoo, thanks to what we saw in the episode, has something to do with this weird bending of fire that this Sparky Boom man has. I don't know who created that tattoo. I don't know what is the deal with this guy, but I guess they took the firebending abilities of this guy and increased it thanks to the tattoo, or modifying thanks to the tattoo, and in the moment you damage said tattoo, this control of these explosions changes completely. It needs to be perfect. So that rock damaged the skin enough of his forehead that obviously his ability to create these explosions from nothing was modified. There are so many things that I found intriguing about this guy. I found him fascinating thanks to the lack of information that we have of him. He reminds me a lot of Boba Fett. Obviously they don't talk or they don't say much, and we have seen that, but they are very skillful on what they do, and obviously they are bounty hunters. Yeah, it reminds me a lot of Boba Fett. They don't say much, they don't communicate any words, they haven't said anything in the moment they are presented in the story. So I am fascinated by this character for all the mysterious that surrounds him, and I want to know more. This was a great antagonist because, again, you eliminate the antagonist of the last season by what we saw in the first and in the last episode of season 2 and in the first episode of season 3. It's an interesting character and it's a great type of antagonist. We have different type of antagonists or enemies in this series. Obviously, the loud antagonist, which was Admiral Zhao, I think it was his name. Then we have obviously Princess Azula, and obviously always in the background the kind of angry one, Zuko again, Zuko. And we have this one, the quiet one that is not doing for any glory, it's just doing for literally money. When we saw obviously the two previous ones doing for glory, doing for their own pride. So yeah, it's interesting to see different types of antagonists, which is something I like. They are not just recycling ideas, they are taking new ideas and they are implemented said ideas into the show. And obviously, yeah, the shock of the first scene, that, oh my god, what the hell is going on? Obviously later on is explained and is part of the plan, but that shock, man, that is a tremendous shock that I was completely, what the hell is going on? And obviously the show doesn't let you analyze that. They continue with this idea, especially with the conflict between Katara and Toph. So the show does a great job trying to say or explain wrongly, obviously, for you to understand it wrongly, what the conflict really is, and surprise you in the end. Oh no, it's actually this one. I like that about the show, that subtlety, that change, that they are distracting you with something, but actually what they want is this other thing. I enjoy when a show does that correctly, as they did in this one. Anyway, yes, I think I'm starting to ramble way too much. Once more, guys, sorry for the last minute and a half of the reaction. It was something that really was unprepared for me. Sorry about that, guys. But anyway, yes, the only thing I have to say is I hope you enjoy it. Please consider a subscription. Remember, as I said last week, there are a lot of people who are not subscribed. And again, I'm not saying that you are the obligation to subscribe to my channel. Just consider it. Perhaps if you enjoy a lot of my videos, consider a subscription. And yes, turn notifications so you can get up to date with whatever we're doing with the channel. If you enjoyed the video, please consider giving me a thumbs up and leave a comment so I know what you think about my reaction, the video, and the analysis in general. Please follow me on Twitter, and again, I have a Patreon. If you are interested, check it out. So yes, I have nothing else to say, as I said before, and the only thing I have to say is, well, thank you for your attention, and see you on the next one. Bye!
Okay guys, I hope you enjoyed that video, and if you did, give it a like, so the algorithm from YouTube will help me out. And check my other videos, share them, and also why not subscribe to my channel and join this community. And as always, I want to thank you for your attention, your likes, and even your dislikes, your comments, which is something I always look forward to read. And yeah, once more, thanks, and see you on the next one.